Is television bad for kids? Now, in my opinion, there isn't much that we can really go ahead and talk about this place. Is television bad for kids? Some people say yes, certain people say it's just certain television shows. And there is a pretty big reason on both sides why television is good or bad for kids. But in the end, though, we're just going to go ahead and start talking about this with the pros and the cons team. As a result, let's get this started with. Alright, let's start off with the pros team. Now, the yes team, or the pros team, or the affirmative team, they go ahead and say that, well, watching television can literally take the place of other activities that are much healthier for kids, such as playing outside and sleeping. Apparently, sleeping is healthier than watching television. And now for the first point of the cons team, is that kids can learn important things from educational TV shows. And because of all that, well, because this is pretty important and kids can learn important things from educational TV shows, there isn't much else that we can really go ahead and think about too. Let's start off with the second point of the pros team, is that many of these TV shows set a really bad example for all these kids. And since they set a really bad example for all these kids, well, you can probably imagine what I'm thinking about right now. That is quite true. Second point of the pros team is that many of these TV shows go ahead and set a bad example. If I literally went ahead and repeated a point, I'm not apologizing, mainly because I probably have terrible editing issues. Yeah, most TV shows do set a pretty bad example for little kids, such as I could name a few examples, but then again, there isn't much bad examples nowadays. And now for the second point of the cons team is that many kids go ahead, and many of these TV shows provide kids with really good role models. And when they get really good role models, well, huzzah, they just been entertained with a pretty big much of making them learn something that's really good for them to know. And now for the third point of the pros team is that seeing violence on television can make kids more aggressive, and this can literally just sometimes scare them. Like, let's say you are 15, let's say you're 5 years old, but you're watching a PG plus movie. Obviously, that is not okay. Unless you swap minds with a PG person, but yeah, nah. Let's start it off with our third point of the cons team right now. Now, these guys go ahead and say that television can literally help kids to develop empathy and understand people who are different from them. And when you go ahead and understand people who are different from you, well, that is something called empathy, and you can do everything in your power to go ahead and keep it going. And now for the fourth and final pros point is that advertisements on television can cause kids to eat more junk food or to feel bad about themselves. And when you feel bad about yourself, well, there is literally not much else you can do except try to make yourself feel better. And that usually means binge eating, watching a bunch of television, which probably makes you feel bad again, and probably just doing something that you hate. Alright, now for the fourth point of the cons team is that watching and talking about TV as a family can teach important life skills and help adults and children learn more about each other. And when you guys learn more about each other, that means you guys both have empathy. And when you guys both have empathy, there's so much else that you can just achieve with the blink of an eye, with actions. There is so much you can do with actions. Watching and talking about TV as a family can teach all those important life skills. And there's nothing I can do to change that. Now, is television bad for kids? Certain television shows certainly bad for kids, and certainly there were some television shows that was certainly bad for me when I was kindergarten. In kindergarten, I was allowed to watch kindergarten kids shows, which apparently meant watching a bunch of bicycle riders, sci-fi bicycle riders, going ahead using their phones to summon a cyclone, and then running into the cyclone so that they can go inside a giant monster and use their bikes to control the monster. By the way, that thing's called Bike Loans. I really love the show. Oh, and there's also a Transformers rip-off version of a show I watched. I think it was, I forgot the name of the show. Yeah, that's the name. Anyways, it was like a little boy going ahead. He has a bunch of cars, which he can summon by solving a Rubik's Cube. And once he solves a Rubik's Cube, a face of the Rubik's Cube, he can go ahead and summon that certain car, which turns into a giant robot that can go ahead and defeat someone or something. Yeah, I don't get that entirely either. And yeah, there's so much else I would really love to talk about and debate about, but there is not much time left. I hope to see you guys soon, and until next time, ciao now, peace. Bye-bye.